Episode 23. Be sure to check us out on Instagram, where you can scroll back through our prior posts to see the spectacular catches that our amazing guests are hauling in. And be sure to hit the follow button so you don't miss the new catches that are right around the corner. Our handle is @TelltaleFisherman.
Welcome to the Telltale Fisherman podcast, where avid anglers share the story of their best fishing day ever to inspire yours. Now it's time for another epic adventure. So here's your host, John Woodson.
Okay, welcome to the show. Today's guest is Colby. Let me make sure I'm saying this right. Is it Elsass?
Elsass, but pretty close.
Elsass. Okay.
Yeah.
And you are coming to us from the Crystal River, Florida area, correct?
That is correct.
All right. That's one of my favorite places to fish. I don't get over there much anymore, but that's where we would always go growing up to do our saltwater fishing, and love that area and looking forward to hearing you tell us about it. But before we jump into that, let's have you tell us a little bit about yourself. What is it that you do during the week when you'd rather be out there on the water chasing after those redfish?
Out there fishing.
Yeah.
I help run my family electrical construction company. We've been in business for over 62 years now.
Wow.
You know, we service the Tri-County area. We do a lot of residential and commercial jobs, and I'm pretty much the VP of the company, and I make sure that, you know, the men get to where they're going, make sure that all the material's right, and pretty much run the office so my father can pretty much just sit back and collect some paychecks.
He's probably not opposed to that plan, is he?
No, he enjoys it pretty much. You know, he's getting older, so he just sits back and enjoys while I pretty much do the work that he was doing his whole life to give me the position that I am.
Well, yeah, I was about to say, I bet he's put in the time and the effort to get it to where it's at now. So, and to get you, trained so that you can do all of that stuff too. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's been doing it since he was 15 years old.
Wow.
So.
Wow. That's pretty cool. So obviously you love to hit the water, when you're not there, running the show at work. So just talk to us a little bit about, where your love of fishing came from. Did you grow up in that area? Did you grow up fishing?
Yeah. I'm the third generation, angler out of Crystal River, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather, built the first local bait house in Crystal River, Knox Baithouse.
I've heard of that one.
Which has become Birds Underwater now, is what the bait house has become, with an ice cream shop upstairs.
Okay.
So it's still a landmark.
Yeah.
And, generations have been handed down to me about fishing. Since it's still my local waters, I have quite an expertise out there and a sense of adventure. So that always helps.
Yeah.
One of the coolest stories of my family is that my grandfather took Babe Ruth out fishing.
Really?
A few things. Yeah, Babe Ruth loved the Crystal River area. It was actually one of his favorite hometowns to visit. And his second passion other than baseball was actually fishing.
Wow. I did not know
that. I know, and my grandfather and him became quite good friends. We got pictures of my grandfather and him together. They would fish quite often when he came to the Crystal River area. So, I mean, it's a cool history. It's those like little hometown backstories that you don't hear very often and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that is neat. And tell people a little bit about that area, because it's called a river. In Florida we have a lot of quote unquote rivers, but they're just kind of lagoons and things. But you actually have a river that starts at a big spring there. Can you kind of tell people about that and what the area is like?
The Crystal River is primarily fed off a few main springs. You have Hunter Springs, the Three Sisters Springs, and of course Kings Bay Spring. All are very large springs that feed directly into the ocean. And the water's crystal clear. I mean, we have such a vast majority of crystal clear fresh water that we have one of the hugest manatee populations year round.
And a lot of slow boat zones too, right?
Actually, we do in the bay is an area. It's all very slow. But as soon as you hit the channel, they do limit it to 25 miles an hour because it is a 6-mile run. And it would take you forever to get all the way out to the Gulf.
Right.
But the great thing is, during wintertime, you have your tourists for the manatees and stuff that come in by the thousands.
Right, right.
So, I mean, it's such, and since we're connected to the ocean, to the Gulf, our fishery is quite amazing in the springs itself. So not even going out to, in the Gulf, in the shallow waters that we have, we get dolphin in the springs. We can get during the wintertime, we get large snook 40-inch plus in the springs.
Really?
We get redfish. We get trout even closer to where the freshwater meets the salt. That on less rainy days, when you don't have so much rain, the salinity pushes in. That we've actually caught and seen them in the springs itself.
Wow. And then, of course, you have freshwater species in there too, right? You have bass.
Yeah, we got largemouth bass. I mean, it's not uncommon on a cooler, fall day to go out and catch a redfish and a bass in the same location, and a snook right there at the marina.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
That's even before you even head out to the Gulf. Crystal River is known for its crystal clear water, not just in the springs, but even out on the flats. We're known for sight fishing. We have shallow water grouper spots. It's when we're out fishing, it's pretty much like fishing in a crystal clear pond. Even out in the ocean, 10, 12 miles offshore, still you can completely see the bottom. It's crazy.
So you could take your boat and in one day go from bass fishing to inshore saltwater fishing to offshore fishing, right? I mean, you've got it all right there.
Yeah, it's not uncommon for a lot of the guides too, guys and guides to put their customers on redfish and snook in the morning with trout, hit up the rocks that are only in 7-8 foot of water, and catch legal keeper grouper. I mean, I think my biggest this year so far off the rocks that we have was 30 inches, and I caught him out of a 20-foot sea arc in 7 foot of water on a low tide. I mean, and land is within sight easily.
Yeah, for sure. Well, there's a lot of room for everybody to chase after whatever fish they like over there, isn't there?
Oh yeah, we have everything from snook, redfish, tarpon to triple tail cobias, grouper. We even right now I've been watching a lot of the guides come back. I've been talking to them. We're catching keeper hogfish right now.
Really?
And I guess the shallowest that I've heard so far has been 6 feet on a low tide off rocks that they were catching grunts on.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy to catch, a hogfish on such shallow rocks, but, we have so much bait and such a great fishery, that, the fish are just coming in more and more.
Well, when we get back, Colby is going to tell us an epic saltwater fishing story. Stay tuned. If you ever go fishing by yourself, it adds a little bit extra challenge to get the boat on and off the trailer. A boat launch cord makes launching much easier, so you can get on the water quicker and without damaging your boat. Go to tell.fish/gear in your web browser and check out the boat launch cord that we like the best. But remember, it works a lot better if you attach it to your trailer before you back the boat in the water. All right, we are back with Colby, and I understand the story you've picked out for us today involves a tournament. Is that right?
That is true. It's the CCBA Tournament. It's a 48-hour ongoing tournament that me and my fishing team do every year. Mm-hmm. And we fare pretty well. I mean, it is one of the largest tournaments of the year that are in our area with over 200 boats.
Wow.
Which is quite, that's one of our biggest tournaments that we do in our area and that I even enter in. I mean, there's a lot of boats running out at 200, I think they do the cap at 300 and we almost hit the cap almost every year. Every year, a little
Wow.
bit more boats get into it.
And so you say a 48-hour tournament. So are you allowed to fish during those entire 48 hours?
Yep, it's a complete 48 hours of straight fishing. You know,
Oh, man.
on Saturday, you go to the captain's meeting Friday night,
Mm-hmm.
and come 6 a.m. that morning, you can fish until 6 p.m. The tournament ends 6 p.m. the next night.
Okay, so that's Sunday night.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, that's Sunday night. But you can fish up to about weigh-in, that's where it gets funny in the story, because it used to be 4 o'clock with a 2-hour ceremony. So I mean, it's almost a 48-hour tournament. It's a 48-hour complete runtime from beginning to end.
Right, right. From the captain's meeting to your final ceremony
Yeah.
there. So, well, tell me a little bit about your strategy going into that. I mean, because are you and the guys all staying up every single minute of that? Fishing hard? Are you taking some breaks and napping? How does that work?
We try to do, every year we try to get better, and we try to make plans of how we're going to, fish the best of our abilities. Because it's such a big competition. You have your guides, you have your weekend anglers, you have your kayakers, and then you just have, people that come up from, the IFA Pro Redfish guys are coming in to fish it, because it's one of the biggest tournaments of the year.
Yeah.
So, every year we take a week, and we get ourselves together. We go scouting a little bit more. We go scouting a little bit harder than what we usually do.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're just not out there, we can go out there and catch fish all day long, but it's getting the right fish, for the tournament, because since it's a redfish tournament, it comes down to, mere quarter of an ounce.
I was gonna say, explain that to people who don't fish the redfish tournaments. How your redfish sizes and what you're looking for in a tournament fish.
Sure. Since redfish are limited to a slot of 18 to 27 inches, it's pretty much who can get the biggest 27-inch redfish is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Most fish, when they're at a certain length, pretty much all weigh the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's just grabbing a bunch of 6-foot tall people and hoping to find the heaviest person in the group of the most
Right.
average looking people. Your standard redfish at 26 to 27 inches weighs between 7 to 9 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
On a good, like most of the times when they come in, it's, they're between 7 to 8 pounds is what it varies. So you're looking for that heavy, if you get like a 9-pound redfish, you've won, because that is the largest, heaviest redfish that you can get at 27 inches.
Right.
And it's very rare to do so during a tournament, because there's so much pressure. Every time you go to a spot, somebody's already been there that you saw coming out of your spot, or
Mm-hmm.
as you're in the spot, you see somebody else coming in. Our area is very vast, but like I tell people that, don't give away your spots. I said, if you really think you have a secret spot, fish a tournament with so many boats, and you'll find out that your spot isn't so secretive.
Right. So what happened in this particular tournament when you guys were going after it there?
This one was kind of funny. We usually, our record so far is we've taken third and fourth almost
Nice.
every year. It varies between third and fourth, which is pretty good. Out of 275 boats,
Heck yeah.
we're taking the top spots. And this year, the rules have been the same every year for the last 6-7 years that we've done it. So we never really mentioned, we never really looked at the rules. So we're fishing on the first day. We're doing really good. The first cast, we landed a slot snook. So I was like, man, this is going really good. The first cast is a 32-inch snook.
Yeah, that's a nice
that has
one.
nothing to do with the competition. But I was like, all right, the fish are biting. That's really good. The first cast is a monster snook. I said, all right, this is going to be a good tournament this year.
And this is all lures, or can you use bait in this tournament?
This style of tournament, since it's not an IFA Pro Redfish Series tournament, it is either live or artificial bait.
Okay.
So, We use primarily artificial, 90% artificial.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really sit at one spot. We're moving a lot. We're going to we're going to a lot of spots. We're following the fish. We're following the tide. We just don't sit up and just wait for that fish. Not that doesn't work, because that has worked many times before for other people. Just for us, we can't just sit there and hope for one redfish.
No, I'm with you. So you caught a snook there, and things were looking promising at the start.
Yeah, and we were doing really good. We were, the first day was mostly about trying to get snook and trout, because the tournament not only is redfish, but it's also for trout. The heaviest trout,
okay.
and the largest trout bag limit, but the money's more of the redfish.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
So we figured the first day the tides wasn't really the greatest. It was negative, low tides.
Mm-hmm.
Not really the best for boat to be fishing in, because the waters that we fish on high tide are only about a foot. So on low tide,
okay.
they're about like 2 inches. So we're out there, we're trout fishing. We're doing really good. We focus to that mostly, and we figured, if we came across a few big reds, we'd see what they weighed out and decide if it was worth keeping them or not. We came across a few lower slots, 21, 22, nothing really worth, if it's not like a 25 and up, it's not really worth, putting in the box for later. It's not even worth a fish to be going to weigh in. So we do really good the first day. We do a lot of trout. We find a lot of big trout. So we keep our upper slots, because you can only have in the trout bag is the 5 largest trout, with one being over 20 inches. What the legal rule is for one person is what the trout bag can be for the tournament. Okay, gotcha. And we have a 24-inch trout, so we were sitting pretty good for the trout, and that's pretty much how the day ended. The next day, since we fished until 8:00 that night, we were really tired. We've been going since 6 that morning. We always decide to sleep during the tournament, because if you're exhausted, you're not going to do any good fishing.
Yeah.
So we go in, we slept from, by the time we got off the boat and cleaned it up, we have a house that's on the water that we use during the tournament. That's the nice thing, we pull up, we unload, we're right there in our beds. So we unload, we do that. We probably go to bed around 9, wake up. I think we get back on the water like 4 in the morning. Mm-hmm. Not much time to sleep, but enough to, feel refreshed. Yeah. We get out there. The tide is high. We got a nice incoming tide. We start red fishing all day. We got a really big, we have a good high tide with a long falling outgoing tide, which is perfect for redfish in our area. Oh yeah. So we start, and we were doing good. We were finding the school of redfish, but they were like the lower slots. Not really what we were looking for, but we were in the redfish. Mm-hmm. We were throwing everything at them. We were throwing shrimp. We were trying to figure out what they wanted, and it comes down to, unfair lures and aqua drink spoons. They were picking each other, because we like to try. I like to have everybody on the boat fish with something different until we find out what the fish want. Yeah. Kind of like, you're throwing out a buffet out there, trying to figure out them fish, because every day they're different. One day they'll be eating live shrimp, and the next thing, they'll be eating mud minnows, and then next day they won't eat anything. Even if you hit them in the head with their own natural bait, they'll just look at it and swim away. It's crazy. Yep. So we're getting a lot on the gold spoon. So we start switching the gold spoons, and we start bringing in redfish after redfish. As the time goes down, we go to one of our good creeks where we know that a lot of big fish sit, but you got to wait for that perfect, right there at the perfect level of the tide where they're in there and you can get in there. Mm-hmm. We weren't really paying attention to the time because we felt that we had time, and we fished this corner. We got 225s, and we're like, all right, this is doing pretty good. I mean, we've gotten over 20 redfish so far. Mm-hmm. Just none of them are tournament winners. We got that tournament winner. Oh yeah. And we come around the corner. My buddy Cass, instantly on. He hit the mangrove line. It came in. The reel just started screaming. We get him in. We thought he was over slot because he was so big. We got him in. I said, let's measure him. I said, oh my gosh, I mean, that thing is ginormous. We put him in. He with a pinch tail was perfect at 27 inches. Like he couldn't get no closer.
Wow.
Perfect slot fish. So I look at everybody. I said, this is the fish that we've been waiting for all weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're really excited. You know, we still have about a 40-minute run to go to weigh-in. You know, we throw all our gear in the best we can. We're not even really worried about cleaning up. We're just throwing our poles down so we can jump on plane. And I told everybody, I said, man, when we're running the 40 minutes, I said, then we'll worry about cleaning the boat.
Yep.
But someone told me, I said, check the time and check when the weigh-in is, because we still got a long drive, and I want to make sure that we're going to make it to weigh-in. I don't want to get there with a winning fish after weigh-in and look like a dummy. You know, I'd rather not show up.
Yeah.
So, you know, we had this big red. I looked at the rules, and this year they decided to change it to weigh-in was at 3:00.
Oh no.
Yeah, and weigh-in has been at 4:00, and here it is. I look at the time. It's like, all right, 3:00. That's okay. It's like what, 2:00? And I look at the weigh-in, and it's right at 3:00.
Oh
so,
no.
I'm like, oh, and when we got back to the boathouse, you know, we have a digital scale that we check our fish. I put it on the scale. You know, it weighed out at 8 pounds and, 6 ounces, so close to a 9-pound red. And I look on the leaderboard, just to see, if we did this good, somebody else did that good. And the biggest redfish was 7 pound 9 ounces.
Oh.
And I was like, man, we had the winning redfish finally. Like, the curse is broken that we could hit that first and second spot in this tournament. And all my buddies were just like so disappointed. But I was like, you know what? We had a great time. We caught tons of fish. I mean, that's just how tournaments go sometimes.
And it just makes you want to get back and do it all the more, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a learning experience. Learning experiences, watch the time a little bit better, read the rules. Don't assume. That's the number one rule. Never assume.
Oh man! So you had the most epic tournament day ever, and because of one rule change,
one rule change, man,
missed it by just a hair. Oh man!
Yeah, missed it by, if we could teleport, we would have got it, but unfortunately, my boat's not that fast.
Oh man! Well, what a great story, and I have a feeling you'll be back, and you will be back up in the leaderboard, and that you will be back to the weigh-in spot by 3:00 next year.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh man! Well, Colby, thanks so much for coming on and sharing that story with us, man. I really appreciate it.
No, man, I had a great time.
Do you have an epic fishing story to tell? We want to hear it. Go to tell.fish/guest in your browser and sign up to become a fishing legend today.
This has been the Telltale Fisherman podcast. Thanks for sharing another great tale with us. Be sure to check out the show notes page for more info on today's show and the gear we talked about. Keep those lines tight, and we'll catch you next time right here on the Telltale Fisherman podcast.